Never before has the world been so full of knowledge, and never before have people been this ignorant. Do you see it? We read more, but understand less. We talk more, but listen almost never. We're being led, not by governments, religions, or the media, but by our own laziness to think. Critical thinking, the very thing that once set humans apart from the herd, is dying. And the most dangerous part? No one realizes it's gone. In this video, I'll tell you why our ability to think is dying, who is killing it, and most importantly, how you can stop yourself from sinking with it. Because if you don't wake up, you'll become the product of something you don't even understand. And when that happens, will you still be human? Or just a shadow, programmed to agree? Something strange is happening around us, slowly but surely. There are no alarms, no protests, no headlines. But if you pay attention, you'll see it. People are stopping thinking, not because they're not intelligent, but because they've lost the patience to think. In a world where everything is delivered in 15 seconds, from food to information to even belief, something that takes time, like reflection, has become a luxury. We're living in an ocean of information, but drowning in shallowness. 15-second videos, angry comment threads, and snap judgments are quietly killing our ability to think. That's when collective stupidity stops being a philosophical concept and becomes the comment section you just scrolled through today. Worse yet, we've misunderstood what critical thinking even means. These days, if you oppose the government, question the media, or rant about AI, you're instantly celebrated as a critical thinker. But that's rebellion, not reflection. Critical thinking is asking questions to understand more deeply. Rebellion is reacting to feel more significant. We admire those who escape the system, yet we fail to see they're often trapped in another cage, the cage of duality. The Matrix offered a symbolic choice. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. Blue pill, believe the system. Red pill, reject the system. They sound different, but both are pre-packaged choices. A true thinker wouldn't pick either pill. They'd ask, who designed these pills? Why am I only given two options? Thinking doesn't begin with taking sides. It begins with questioning the game itself. And perhaps, in this era, the bravest act left is to dare to think slowly. Because the moment you're awake enough to ask, who put those two pills on the table? Congratulations, you've already stepped one foot out of the prison of binary thinking. But that's only the beginning, because true freedom of thought doesn't come from choosing the right side. It comes from understanding how you're thinking at all. Critical thinking isn't about asking provocative questions like, are vaccines harmful? Or, is the earth really round? Those questions sound deep, but they're not. They're designed to provoke doubt, not discovery. They skip straight to the conclusion while ignoring the most important part. How did we arrive at that conclusion in the first place? A true critical thinker doesn't stop at, is this right or wrong? They ask, if this is true, how would I know? That's an epistemological question, a question about how we know what we claim to know. In other words, critical thinking doesn't begin with doubting conclusions. It begins with examining the process that led to them. And here's where a major confusion lies. Critical thinking is not the same as critical rebellion. The rebellion often comes from emotion, anger, disappointment, frustration. A rebel rejects something simply because it comes from the other side. They don't really ask, is this reasonable? They just react. I don't believe it because I don't like who's saying it. A critical thinker, on the other hand, doesn't care who is speaking. They care how that person argues, what evidence they use, and whether the conclusion actually holds up. They don't ask questions to oppose, they ask to understand. Rebels tend to believe the opposite of the crowd, simply because it's different. Critical thinkers accept nothing as absolute, not even their own doubts. They stay open to change when new evidence appears. In today's world, many people are drawn to so-called awakened voices online, those who shout against the system but rarely help others understand the system more deeply. True thinkers build their own frameworks instead, not borrowed, not dependent, always aware. So instead of asking, who should I believe? Learn to ask, How can I verify this for myself? Because if you can't check something on your own, then whether you believe the government, an influencer, or a viral video, you're still just believing someone else. In a world overflowing with noise, where everyone argues and pretends to know, the one who dares to pause and ask the right question is the one who has truly begun to think for themselves. It's not easy, but it's the only path left to protect your freedom of thought. Once we understand the difference between rebellion and reflection, a natural question arises. Why have we, the very species that once took pride in our ability to think, lost the capacity for deep thought? The answer isn't found in intelligence, it's found in the environment we live in. First, information overload. We're consuming more data than any generation before us, thousands of notifications, headlines, videos, and posts every single day. Our brains can't keep up, so they take shortcuts, trusting old biases, following the crowd. A post with 10,000 likes automatically becomes truth, simply because everyone seems to agree. It's a human survival instinct, one that's been hacked by algorithms. Next, the decline of deep reading. We no longer read to understand, we read to summarize. But critical thinking cannot exist without reflection. You can't grasp a book by skimming its chapter titles, just as you can't understand a person through a single tweet. Then comes education. John Taylor Gatto once said, "Schools are not designed to produce thinkers, they are designed to produce obedient workers." Schools don't teach us how to think, they teach us how to comply. Students are rewarded for remembering correctly, not for understanding deeply. No one asks why, only what's the right answer. Another root cause, the fear of isolation. Thinking differently gets labeled as rebellious, troublesome, or pretentious. So we stay quiet, and over time that quietness becomes a gentle form of complicity. And finally, the media and social networks. Every platform is engineered not to make you think, but to make you react. Algorithms favor what sparks outrage, affirmation, or emotional resonance, not what encourages pause or reflection. Each like is a tiny hit of dopamine, pleasant, addictive, slowly replacing our desire to seek the truth. When you see all these forces together, the picture becomes clear. Collective stupidity isn't something forced upon us by any one power. It's the inevitable outcome of a system that has made thinking itself inconvenient. After seeing the external pressures, from technology, education, media, and social networks, we must now face the harder truth. The enemy also lives within. Because the real problem isn't our lack of information, it's how we process that information. We haven't become less intelligent, but we've become less trusting of society, of institutions, of experts, and even of one another. And when trust collapses, we stop searching for truth. We start searching for comfort, the kind that confirms what we already believe. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman, author of Thinking Fast and Slow, once explained, there are two systems in the mind. System 1 is fast, intuitive, and emotional. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and logical. System 1, fast thinking, keeps us alive in danger. It reacts instantly, guided by instinct. But it also makes us quick to anger, quick to judge, and easy to manipulate through emotion. System 2, slow thinking, is where reason lives. It analyzes, questions, verifies, but it takes time, energy, and patience. And that's the problem. Modern life keeps us trapped in fast mode. We reply instantly to messages, comment before thinking, draw conclusions from headlines alone. Slow thinking, the one that actually matters, feels exhausting, so we abandon it. Worse still, we fall into confirmation bias, seeking only information that confirms what we already believe. And groupthink, conforming to the crowd just to avoid conflict or rejection. And so, as a bitter but honest truth, we no longer seek the truth. We only seek reassurance that we're already right. That is the psychological trap, the quiet prison inside our own minds, where we mistake validation for understanding and comfort for truth. What's truly terrifying isn't that we're thinking wrong, it's that we think we're thinking. After losing trust, drowning in data, and living in instant reaction mode, we've entered an illusion of thought. We tell ourselves we're awake, independent, enlightened, but in truth, we're moving along a system engineered to manipulate every click, every thought, every flicker of emotion. And that's not just dangerous, it's efficient. Because the moment we stop asking questions, we start being led. Manipulation no longer needs guns or violence. It only needs unconscious consent. Each silent person contributes a little. Each scrolling past adds a little. Each unverified repost spreads a little more. And piece by piece, society begins to self-censor. As George Orwell once warned, the most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of their history. The blindly obedient repeat whatever the system tells them, like reciting from a textbook. The blindly rebellious reject everything simply because it's too mainstream. Both extremes are perfect tools for manipulation, because neither side thinks, they only react. We tell ourselves we're thinking, but in reality we're just running, chasing fear, chasing crowds, chasing dopamine hits from likes and shares. And the worst part? No one forces us to live this way. We do it to ourselves. We've become products of algorithms, of emotional reflexes, of a society that no longer knows how to doubt the right way. After everything, one question remains. How do we reclaim our ability to truly think? Once we've seen the invisible traps of information, algorithms, crowds, and even our own emotions, the only way forward is a journey inward, a return to independent, conscious, and deep thought. The first step is to relearn humility. In an age where everyone can post an opinion, debate, and think critically in a single status update, it's easy to fall into the illusion that we already know enough. But those who truly think have the courage to say, "I know very little." Because knowledge isn't a solo journey. It's a web of trust where we learn from one another, verify together, and grow together. We can't doubt everything, for then we'd believe in nothing. But we also can't believe everything. The key is to believe selectively, grounded in reason, evidence, and reality. On this journey, there are 3 essential habits of critical thinking, especially in an age ruled by AI. First, distinguish between opinion and judgment. Many people mistake emotional reactions for critical thought. I don't like this. That feels wrong. But that's just a response, not a reflection. Judgment requires reasons, thought behind feeling. Learn to say, "Here's why I believe this might be wrong." That's the language of maturity. Second, use mental models, structured questions that slow down your mind. Ask yourself, what are the short-term consequences of this? What's the second-order effect? If my best friend faced this, what would I tell them? These questions force you to slow down your thinking, and that's how you grow faster in wisdom. Third, reflect instead of reacting. Before you get angry, sad, or hit share, pause and ask, where is this emotion coming from? From me or from my fear of being left behind? That single question can turn emotion into insight, because in the end, AI can write better, calculate faster, and pretend to be intelligent, but it cannot understand. Only humans, when they understand themselves, can be truly creative, free, and alive. You don't need a degree to think deeply. You don't need Harvard to ask a meaningful question. You just need the courage to stop and really think. Humans won't lose to AI because we're slower. We'll lose because we've forgotten how to go deeper. If AI can replace us in thinking fast, then only we can preserve the art of thinking slow. And if that's true, then why do we keep giving our souls to the screen? Don't just scroll. If this made you question something, share it, because that's how change begins, one honest thought at a time. And if you're ready to take your mind back, follow, save, and stay with me.